In the potato field. Slowly, Sherlock learned to herd the animals. He began to understand the language of the sheep and the cows, and to know what they were saying and what they wanted. What it meant when they suddenly shook their heads, and who was the lead ewe. Sometimes, when he was tired and the sun wasn't setting fast enough, he took her by the ear and led her home, with the three other sheep trotting after her. The cows took one look and came too. As long as he didn't overdo it, the woman didn't mind. Once, though, he came home so early that she lost her temper and locked him out of the house. She brought him his supper to the sheep shed, a bowl of plain potatoes. He didn't do it again. Sometimes he woke up in the morning before she came to rouse him. Maybe it was the rooster that woke him, or else the sheep or the dogs who came to play with him at dawn. Once, going to draw water from the well to wash with, he saw a man slip out of the house and run off into the forest. He didn't ask who it was. He kept looking at the girl with the two cows. Sometimes he caught her looking at him, too. Yet, she never answered when he called to her. In the end, it was the dogs who introduced them. Sherlock now took them regularly to the pasture, where he played with them, and sometimes wrestled and romped with them in the grass. He could feel the girl watching these games with interest. One day, she seemed to be very busy. She kept changing places and lying down in the grass, as though looking at something. Sherlock wondered what she was up to. At noontime, he saw her light a fire. Then she sat down to eat. She must have roasted potatoes in the coal, Sherlock thought. Sniffing the air, the dogs ran to her. She called to them. He called to them before they reached her, and they ran back. But she called too, and they turned around again. It became a game between her and Sherlock. After a while, she called to him. "Hey, Red, what do you have to eat?" "Bread and cheese," Sherlock called back. "I've got something better." "What?" "Baked birds." "Did you give some to the dogs?" "Just the bones." "Will you give me some?" "Come on over." But although he would have liked to, the cows headed for the neighbor's field the minute he left them. They were smarter than the sheep, who paid no attention and went on eating. "I can't," he shouted. "The cows will get into the wheat." The girl saw his predicament and came to him. With her, she brought a few baked songbirds. "How did you catch them?" he asked. "Don't you know?" "No." "Would you like me to show you?" "Yes." "What will you give me?" Sherlock thought. "I don't have anything," he said. "What's your name?" "Yurik." "Mine's Mariza. Are you related to Pani Noek?" "No." "Then why are you staying with her?" "Her brother found me in the forest." "What were you doing in the forest?" "I was living there." "Where are your father and mother?" "They're dead," he said, feeling his heart twinge. Were they? Was it all right to say that? Could it make them die if they hadn't yet? And what about his brothers and sisters? The thought of them made him sad. Marisa noticed. "I know what it's like," she said. "My parents are dead too. That's why I was sent to my aunt and uncle in the village. They send their children to school in town, and I have to watch the cows. And at night they make me serve supper and wash the dishes, and their daughter sticks out her tongue at me. They don't even take me to church on Sunday. I have to pasture the cows then too. Do you go to church?" "No." "Everyone except me has a bed to sleep in," Marisa said. "Where do you sleep?" Sherlock asked. "In the barn." "I sleep in the sheep shed. When it's cold, I cuddle up with the sheep." "My aunt and uncle don't have sheep, just cows, pigs, and chickens. Come on, I'll teach you how to catch little birds and cook them." "I know how to cook them," Sherlock said. "I had a friend in the forest who hunted them with a slingshot." "What happened to him?" Sherlock shrugged. "He's gone." Marisa undid her braids and plucked two long hairs from them. Laying them on the ground, she tied a small loop at the end of them. Then she made a slip knot by passing them through the loop. "See, you put a hair in the grass and tie the other end to a stem. Then you scatter crumbs. The birds are so dumb that they just step into the loop. It tightens when they try to get away. You don't believe me?" When we were little, my brother caught lots of birds like that. Starlings, larks, finches, sparrows, birds I can't even name. With hair from your braid? She laughed. I didn't have a braid then, stupid. How old are you? I guess 9. I'm 12, Marisa said proudly. My brother used hair from the tail of our horse. Where's your brother now? With my parents in heaven. Now look, and I'll show you. You know why I'm nice to you? Because you're an orphan like me. Sherlock walked beside her. The dogs followed them. She laid the hairs in the grass, looped one end, tied the other to a stem, and scattered crumbs. That's all there is to it, she said. You can go back to your cows. Before long, little birds came along to peck at the crumbs. One couldn't fly away. Marisa ran to it with Sherlock on her heels. By the time he reached her, she was holding the bird in her hand. She opened the slip knot, freed it, and pocketed both hairs. Get it? She asked. Sherlock got it. But where was he to get such long hairs? His farm had no horse. Can you lend me a few hairs? He asked. Sure, but we can hunt together. They spent half the next day hunting birds. After they had caught enough of them, Marisa gathered wood and kindling for a fire. Sherlock was surprised to see she had no matches. I'll give you some, he said. I have some, she told him, but I'm going to show you a trick. She took a round piece of glass and beamed a ray of light with it on a dry leaf. Soon there was smoke. Then a little flame appeared. Marisa had added some dry pine needles, and the flame flared up. How did you do that? Sherlock marveled. It's the magnifying glass that does it, not me. Let me try. First, let's cook the birds. She gave him a knife, and he cut the birds' heads off and cleaned them. Marisa coated them with mud. Then she laid them in the coals, and they sat down to wait. Once I was with my brother in the forest, and we found a knapsack, she told. Oh, once I was in the brother in the forest, and we found a knapsack, she told Sherlock. There were books in it, and 3 pieces of glass like this. The books had pictures of butterflies and bugs. They must have belonged to a nature teacher. We didn't know what the glass was for. My father taught us things you can do with it. Making fire is just one. Marisa showed Sherlock how the glass made everything bigger. His fingertips, the grass, even a small ant. Let me have it for a second. It was a wonder to him. He tried lighting a dry leaf like Marisa, but couldn't do it. Not like that. You have to focus the light in a little point. What will you swap for it? What do you have? He took out his butterfly pin. Marisa examined it and pinned it on her dress. She handed it back. Nope. But I didn't tell you yet. It shines in the dark if you put it in the sun during the day. It gives back the sunlight during the night. I'll take it home with me and see. If you're right, I'll swap. They took the cooked birds from the fire, rolled them in the grass, broke the clay, removed the little morsels, and sat down to eat. Sherlock took out his water bottle. Marisa drank without touching it with her lips. When it was his turn, she said, That's no way to drink if you're sharing with someone. You don't let your lips touch. Don't you know that? He didn't. She showed him how to do it. The meat and bread were a royal feast. It's a lot of work, Marisa said, but we don't have anything better to do, and I love baked birds. Me too, said Sherlock. I wish I could hunt grouse like the boys, Marisa said. How do they hunt them? With slingshots. Are they bigger? Sure, they're even bigger than a pigeon. I'll show you in the morning. Can't you catch them with a hair? No, not even with a horse hair. They're too strong. The next day she gave him the magnifying glass. Your butterfly really shines at night, she said. She also brought him a big piece of sausage. I stole it, she told him. I'll split it with you if you'll play a game with me. Sherlock agreed. What's the game? Let's eat first. After they ate, Marisa led him to the footpath that ran between the meadow and the wheat field. They sat on the hard earth, and she taught him to play jacks with stones. She was awfully good at it. It's a girl's game, she said, but what do you care? Sherlock tried flipping the stones in the air and catching them like Marisa. It was hard. It takes time, she said. If we play every day, you'll get better. A sudden breeze billowed her dress. You're peeking, she said. That's dirty. No, I wasn't. I couldn't help seeing. You wouldn't have seen anything if I was rich. Why not? Because then I'd wear panties. Now you'll have to take down your pants for me. Sherlock agreed. Marisa examined him and said, Yours is different from other boys. Sherlock was frightened. He had forgotten that he mustn't take off his pants. Don't tell anyone, he said. I won't, Marisa promised. Some days she didn't want to hunt. She just wanted to lie in the sun. She would give Sherlock some hares and let him hunt by himself while she kept an eye on his cows and sheep. He caught some birds, made a fire, and cooked them. One day, something strange happened to the fat cow. Although its udders had been swelling, Penny Noack had said it wouldn't give milk until it calved. He wasn't sure what calving was, but now something was dropping from it. He was afraid that something was the matter and ran shouting to Marisa. She came to have a look and calmed him. She's just calving, you dope. Can't you see? Shirley couldn't believe his eyes when suddenly two little feet appeared. Marisa told him to grab hold of one of them. She seized the other and they began to pull. The cow bleated and panted. A mouth and a muzzle appeared, and a minute later there was a head with eyes and ears. Sherlock was flabbergasted. When the head was free, they gave a last pull, and the baby calf popped out like a cork. What do I do now? Sherlock asked worriedly. How do I get her home? It's not a her, it's a him, Marisa said. Don't worry, he'll walk by himself. The other two cows came to have a look. One tried licking the calf, but the mother chased it away. Soon the calf struggled to its feet. It found its mother's teats and began to suck. Sherlock couldn't take his eyes off it. He had never seen anything so exciting. You never saw an animal give birth? Not even a dog or a cat? No. Once I saw a baby goat in Blarney, but I didn't see it being born. You want to know something? Sherlock looked at her curiously. You and I were born the same way. He burst out laughing. That's crazy. I'm telling you, that's why boys are made like you and girls like me. He could see she was serious. Do you know how babies get into their mother's stomachs? She told him. You really are crazy, he said. Didn't you ever see a dog mount a bitch or a billy goat do it with a goat? When Pani Noack takes her cow to the stud bull, you'll believe me. I know all that, Sherlock said. I saw dogs do it in Blarney, but people aren't dogs or cows. Marisa shrugged. You'll understand when you're older. At first, I didn't want to believe it either. Every Sunday, Pani Noack put on her best clothes and went to church. Sometimes on her way out, she looked at Sherlock, as if wondering whether to take him too. But Sunday followed Sunday, and she never did. Sometimes neighbors dropped by after church. Although Sherlock tried to hide when they came, they sometimes spied him in the yard. I got him from my brother, the woman explained. He's an orphan. His name is Yurik. Some of the visitors smiled at him. One, an old woman, gave him nasty looks. Once, he heard her ask Pani Noack, Barbara, why don't you bring him to church? Maybe he needs to be baptized. I'll talk to the priest, Pani Noack said. The conversation worried Sherlock. Something else worried him too, and it was annoying. He had an itch that kept spreading. He didn't know if it was from dirt or lice. At first, it was only on his hands. When he looked at his fingers, he saw what seemed like little white designs beneath the skin. Pani Noack told him he had chiggers. It came, she said, from a tiny worm that burrowed into you. There's a salve for it, she said. I'll ask the neighbors. There wasn't enough time for her to get it, though. One evening, Sherlock came back from the pasture and brought the cows to the barn for milking. Suddenly, the dogs barked wildly and ran toward the road. A vehicle was approaching. The Germans are coming to confiscate livestock, Pani Noack said angrily. Run and hide in the storeroom. I'll shut the dogs up, otherwise they'll shoot them. Sherlock ran to the storeroom, and Pani Noack grabbed the dogs and dragged them into the house. An army truck drove into the yard with two German soldiers. They produced a list and took a sheep from the shed. Sherlock watched through the crack in the wooden door. It was his favorite sheep. A soldier lifted it onto the truck while the other headed with the woman for the barn. Sherlock heard him ask, "Where's the Jewish boy?" "I don't have a Jewish boy." "In the village they say you do," the soldier said. Sherlock waited for them to enter the barn. Then he slipped from the storeroom, scaled the picket fence, and ran along the path leading past the potato field into the forest. Just then, the second soldier stepped out of the barn with a cow on a rope. The cow gave the rope a yank and it broke loose. The German cursed and ran after it. As he did, he spied Sherlock. At first, he began to chase him, but seeing that the boy had too much of a head start, he ran back toward the truck, shouting to the first soldier to start driving toward him. The two of them set out in hot pursuit, but Sherlock was nowhere in sight. He wasn't in the forest yet. Hearing the truck, he knew he had no time to reach it. He left the path, threw himself down in the potato field, and crawled among the plants. The truck sped down the path and past his hiding place. It reached some fallow ground between the field and the forest and stopped. A German jumped down, strode into the field, and began to search. He walked slowly, checking each row of potatoes. The driver switched off the engine and climbed onto the back of the truck to get a better view. Sherlock kept crawling toward the forest. He could see the branches of the trees without having to raise his head. He would get as close as he could and make a dash for them. He tried to move carefully without touching the plants, thankful for every breeze that stirred them all at once. Something was blocking his way. He raised his head a bit and saw a man staring at him. The man was lying on the ground too. His hair was matted and wild, and his lined, ashen face was covered with the growth of a beard. Sherlock realized he was a Jew like himself. He kept crawling until he was close enough to whisper, "Get out of here. The Germans are after me." The man didn't answer. His eyes widened in astonishment. He held out his arms and whispered back, "Sherlock? Papa?" Only now did he realize it was his father. "I thought you and Mama had been killed," his father whispered. "No. Where's she?" "I don't know." They could hear the two Germans shouting to each other. One voice was far away. The other was closer. "Sherlock, there's no time. I want you to remember what I'm going to tell you. You have to stay alive. You have to. Get someone to teach you how to act like a Christian, how to cross yourself, and how to pray. Find a farmer you can stay with until the war ends. Always go to the poor people. They're more willing to help. And never swim in the river with other boys." "I know that." The German on the truck shouted to the German in the field. The German in the field was getting closer. "We have no time," his father said. If they come after you with dogs, find water or a swamp to cross. That throws them off the trail. And the most important thing, Sherlock," he said, talking fast, "is to forget your name. Wipe it from your memory." "I already have a Polish name," Sherlock whispered. "It's Yurik." "Good. From now on, your name is Yurik Stanek. You can remember Pani Stanek from the grocery in Blani." "Yes, Papa." "What's your name?" "Yurik Stanek." "And if you forget everything, even if you forget me and Mama, never forget. You're a Jew." "I won't, Papa." His father stopped to think if he had left anything out. He said, "Always run to the forest. The Germans stay out of it because they're afraid of the partisans." He listened to the footsteps of the approaching soldier. Then he pulled Sherlock toward him, grasped his head with both hands, kissed him while groaning like a wounded animal. "Sherlock, I'm going to run. The Germans will chase me. Count to 10 slowly. Slowly. Don't forget. Then run to the forest." "All right, Papa." His father jumped up and started to run. How much he had changed! The powerful man who could once lift a heavy sack of flour was now a shadow of himself. The two Germans let out a shout. Schurlich forced himself to count, even though he wanted to run too. He counted slowly, as in a game of hide and seek. He reached 10, coiled himself, and sprang to his feet. From the corner of his eye, he saw the two Germans chasing his father in the direction of the village. As fast as he could, he ran the other way toward the forest. 2 shots rang out, then another. He didn't turn to look. He ran until he was in the forest. That night, he couldn't fall asleep. Stretched out on the broad branch of a tree with his eyes shut, he kept seeing the potato field and his father. Now he saw every detail of his father's face. It had changed back again into the old face he knew. He could concentrate on his father's words without having to hear the shouts of the Germans. You have to stay alive, Schurlich. Get someone to teach you how to act like a Christian. Learn how to cross yourself. Always go to the poor people. Yes, Papa. Water throws dogs off your trail. Forget your old name. You're Yurik Stanek. But even if you forget me and Mama, never forget that you're a Jew. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He fell asleep before hearing the shots, but they echoed in his dreams all night long. He kept running and running without looking back, the real face of his father in front of him.